The 1971 season opened sensationally at Arden Street, when reigning premiers Carlton were toppled by the 1970 Wooden Spooners, North Melbourne. But it was slamming Sam's day. North's dynamic forward, Sam Kekovich, tore Barassi's Blues to shreds. It wasn't the first time these two headstrong men had crossed paths, and as the 70s unfolded, it wasn't to be the last time. To add to Barassi's worries at this time was a wrangle he had with Adrian Gallagher's fiancée, who claimed that Barassi treated his men like little boys. While Kekovich could be brilliant, he was like a stick of dynamite with a short fuse. Just 1 week later, he exploded. After this tangle with St Kilda's Barry Breen, he was suspended for 2 matches. In one of the most publicised swaps in football history, Richmond swapped Billy Barrett for St Kilda's captain Ian Stewart. And with play like this, Stewart sparked the Tigers. It was a magnificent year for the recruiters. The names of Jeff Southby, David Clark, Michael Tuck, Gary Wilson and Brian Roberts appeared for the first time. North's Keith Gregg was the recruit of the year, and he took no time to prove it. He made the state team after his 8th game. And then along came Diamond Jim. Melbourne spent $39,000 and months negotiating with South Australian club Sturt before John Tilbrook made his debut in June.
Oh, there's a good shot of him. Getting a great cheer. He's paid off his first dollar. Oh, and he's kicked the thing about 150 yards.
2 bounces to put him in.
Over at the Junction Oval, Peter McKenna brought up his 2nd successive 100 with this goal against Fitzroy. And then he had to put up with the consequences. McKenna ended the season with 134 goals and a reputation as a singer. His record of Things to Remember sold 7,000 copies.
Here they come. The kids are coming on the ground now. McKenna has kicked his 100th goal. And
at Glenferrie Oval on July 24 against Footscray, Peter Hudson calmly notched his 4th successive century. He just kept kicking goal after goal.
Notching his 3rd goal for the game, but more importantly, his 100th goal for the season, kicked at the 19-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Down here at Glenferrie Oval, it's Hawthorn playing Footscray.
1971 was a hard, bruising year. Russell Crowe and Eric Leach. Jeff Blethyn collected Dennis Clark. St Kilda's Jimmy O'Day. Stephen Theodore collided with Barry Davis. St Kilda's Alan Davis.
Again. Oh, he ran into a quick ball. Oh, they're going in here.
Kevin Sheedy and Peter Crimmins. Norm Bussell gave Bruce Sherpig a cuddle. Peter Hudson got the ball and a pat on the back from Jeff Strang. Ray Bitham and Doug Wade tangled. The earth shook when John Nichols went down. Sherpig again, this time as he ran into Ian Collins of Carlton. Richmond's Graham Bond. And the most famous of them all, Barry Cable bumped into Lee Matthews, and it took years for the hostility between Western Australia and Victoria to simmer.
Certainly shook him up a bit, didn't it? Did it ever?
In September, Ian Stewart won the Brownlow Medal for the 3rd time, becoming the only man in league history to win the award with different clubs. And we farewelled 3 champions: South's Bobby Skilton, Carlton's Sergio Silvani, and Geelong's Billy Goggin. Among the great marks of the season were these: Melbourne's Gary Hardiman, and that high-flying hawk, Peter Knights. On Grand Final day, every eye was on Peter Hudson as the Hawks lined up against St Kilda. It was to be the hardest Grand Final of the decade, as 2 sides who depended almost totally on physical toughness met head-on. For Hudson, it could have been the highlight of his football career. He needed only 4 goals to topple Bob Pratt's record of 150 goals in a VFL season. It was a sad year. The football world mourned the passing of its leader. Sir Kenneth Luke, the president of the VFL, died in June. He left the giant stadium at Waverley as a monument to his vision. Carlton had missed out on the finals, and coach Ron Barassi decided to call it a day. He said he was tired of football and wanted a break. And Collingwood's Bob Rose ended his years of heartbreak by retiring. He'd taken the Magpies into the finals for the 7th time in 8 years, to the inglorious record of 3 wins from 13 games. North Melbourne started its climb from the depths. Under new president Alan Aylett, the Roos finished 9th. St Kilda signed a promising young ruckman from Western Australia called Graham Moss. And Norm Smith retired as coach of South, bringing down the curtain on an illustrious career that had spanned 4 decades and included 9 premierships with Melbourne. In the end, there were just John Kennedy's Hawks and Alan Jean's Saints, and Peter Hudson trying for that elusive record.
Three-time Murray there. The ball knocked away. Looks like Murray's in a bit of trouble. They go through it on the outer side. Kicks in towards centre-half forward. Plenty of opposition there. Whoa! John Brassie pointed out it isn't pretty football, but look, the ball's at centre-half forward. Green comes in. Almost unloaded by Russell. Oh! They fly. It's Beck who almost takes them out. But Dick retreats. Oh! The ball on. Rice is there. Angus will shepherd for him, but Neil bowls him over, who's come right into the game in this 3rd quarter. Gets up towards centre-half forward. It's Wilson, a desperate tackle. Makes him unload the ball quickly. Taken by Trott. Oh, what a shot. Let's hear from Jack Edwards. There's the kick. Murray coming out this time.
Injury's been occurred now for 2 or 3 minutes, and it looks too bad for him to continue.
Right down towards the half-forward flank with Heath does a diving mark, and it's paid. Picks up out of the half-back flank. They set themselves. Up they go, and there's a good mark. Scott comes around on his left foot, goes to a half-forward flank. Up they go. Oh, beautiful mark. And Moore drives the ball around the wing. Over from the back comes Moran. A great mark in the ball. Moore now up towards centre-half forward. Hudson moves in, goes up high. He's marked. Hudson is marked. Kick forward.
Hudson had plenty of chances, but none as easy as this shot in the dying minutes of the game.
He steadies. He kicks. Oh my God, he's missed it.
He missed the goal and Pratt's record.
He's put it out of bounds on the full. Goes straight up the ground. Players move into it there. Pushed across to Judson. Judson surrounded by Hawthorn players, but he'll get a free kick. Hard way to get it, but he's got the free kick. Judson. Time running out for the Saints. It's a long quarter, this one. Judson takes his kick. Goes to the flank position on the outer side. The sun comes out as the ball hits the ground, and Heath sends it back to the wing position.
And then there were just the victorious Hawks.
Silent goes Hawthorn, our premiers, 1971. Hawthorn, our premiers, and the final scoreboard here reads, let's have a look at it, as John Kennedy is being hugged and congratulated. And the final scoreboard, Hawthorn 12-10-82, St Kilda 11-9-75.
We were quite confident we could win it because the second semi-final was, Hawthorn got away from us and then we ran them down, and we'd played exceptionally well in the final game against Richmond to get back out, have another go again, and we were quite keen.
I remember thinking at 3/4 time when going out when Alan's team were about 3 or 4 goals in front, I thought, well, you know, what a rotten thing to happen to us. We've won 19 matches, we fell in the semi-final, and is this going to be the day when we lose? But I think the players thought that too. They must have been thinking the same thing, and they dragged a little bit more out in the last quarter.
I remember John saying, well, it's a grand final, we've worked this hard for this long, that we ought, if we're going to go down, we ought to go down with a bang. And he was talking in the sense that we might lose the thing. And I remember Scotty, I was captain of the Sky, but Scotty brought the blokes together again, or so they grouped up again, they went away, and he said, what's he talking about losing? He said, we'll win it. And I think Scott set the patterns, as Alan has already mentioned, from the centre bouncers. And